Well, hello, everyone. It's your girl, Gabrielle. Welcome to a brand new episode of Hot Topics. Let me just tell you what this show is about, whether you are returning to the show or you are brand new to the program. Let me tell you what this podcast is about. So, this podcast, we like to have real talk about real things here on Hot Topics. Particularly, we like to focus on certain topics. We like to talk about things in, oh, okay, I see a tag. We like to talk about things in education, employment, mental health, physical health, anything else that is steamy. And the whole point of the show is for you guys to learn something, as this is a production of my company, A Step Ahead Tutoring Services. My goal is for you to be 1% better than how you were yesterday. And today is no different. So I'm just going to jump right into it. Let me tell you the topic of the show. So the topic of the show is a repeat topic. I love it when I bring topics back. And the topic that I am bringing back is entrepreneurship and motherhood. That's right. So this is the Oh, hey Melissa. um so this is the second installment of entrepreneurship and motherhood. I am bringing it back. And my guest, who is going to help me with this discussion, is actually a repeat guest. She was on Hot Topics some time ago, and she's actually returning to the hot seat. And my guest is Amber McCarty. She is coming back to Hot Topics, you guys. So let me just remind you a little bit about who she is. So she's been an entrepreneur for 5 years, and she's also been networking in the same amount of time. And she has learned some things about putting your business out there and how to make you, the entrepreneur, stand out. And what she does is she asks you a bunch of questions to help you figure out who you are. Beautiful. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring her to the stage.
Hey,
Hey, Amber, how you doing?
doing so good. Oh my goodness, thank you so much for having me again. This is gonna be so much fun. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming back. I'm glad I didn't scare you away, and now you're jumping back on the hot seat.
Yes,
So
it feels
today,
really weird to be in the hot seat, but I'm excited.
so you are going to help me out with this discussion about entrepreneurship and motherhood. So, I'm bringing this topic back again. So I wanted to hear your input about how to balance the two. Is there such thing as a balance? Can it be done? Because you're a mom, right? I remember the last show with your kids screaming in the background as you're trying to conduct the interview. So, that was a very pivotal moment of that show. So I wanted to have your take about how do you balance being an entrepreneur and being a mom? Can it be done?
First of all, yes, it can totally be done. Yes, it can be done. But yeah, it definitely takes a lot of patience from my aspect and from the children's aspect, and also boundaries and respect. Like, oh my goodness, it has been such a learning curve. I started this business when I only had one child, and that was not. Where'd you go, friend? All of a sudden, like our split
I'm
screen is gone,
here.
so it just looks like
I'm here.
there we go. Okay, it just looked like I was talking to myself. I'm like, no. Okay, so yeah, when I first started this journey, I only had one child, so it really wasn't all that difficult to go at or two children at the time. But like one was in school and one was a newborn, so it was really easy to collide the business with the newborn. But then obviously as the child grew and my business grew, they both had demands. And of course, I want to raise my child correct and I also want to raise my business correct. But I really think that children take a precedence in your life before your business. I really do. I've heard it said by so many older entrepreneurs when I had my little baby on camera, and I remember breastfeeding, not like on camera, of course I was covered, but like I
Mhm.
remember like breastfeeding like in interviews and during my networking social events, and everyone just said, "Slow down and love this." I'm like, "Yeah, I totally do. Of course I do. Like, why wouldn't I?" And in the back of your head, you're like, "I just can't wait till you can feed yourself." And but looking back at it, yeah, they were right. You know, you need to slow down and really enjoy those moments. And hearing that enough throughout my journey of entrepreneurship, I've learned how to slow down and really how to balance that and really how to take that in. And now I think I have it pretty well down to a science. And the children know that when mom is with you, mom is with you. And I really think that's important.
So when you say slow down, what does that mean? What does that look like?
I actually have it like blocked out on my daily activities, like on my time chart. So way my children know, okay, this time mom is busy, but then this time, like we get mom. And then this time, like mom is busy. And then this time, like we get mom. So for my children to see that and to know, like, okay, after we wake up and we do breakfast and we get ready for the day, mom, is gonna be with us for like an hour, maybe two, and then she's gonna step back and she's gonna, pull back and do something for herself. Whether that be, clean the house, because of course that needs to be done too. But like I actually have like a set schedule in the house where my children know, like, okay, this is mom's time and then this is like kids time and then this is kids time and then it goes back to mom time, so that way my kids can feel that and then they can see it as well, and then they know where they're at, so they're not like, are we allowed to like knock on your door, mom? Are we like allowed? Because I never want my children to feel that way. None of us do.
So you block out times in your day where you're conducting your business and your kids know not to bother you during this time.
For the most part, yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, of course, they're children, so, of course, they still knock on the door even though, like, you said, like, "I need 20 minutes by myself to get something done." Of course, you still get, like, the little pitter-patters on the door handle and, like, "Mommy, can we come in?" Um, but yeah, for the most part, I really think that blocking it out really helps. And now that I really have, like, a set schedule in place, the children and I are now on the same page, so I think that really helps.
So because I'm wondering, how old are your kids? How old are your kids, if I can ask?
Yeah. So my oldest is 10, and then I have my 5-year-old, and then my 2-year-old. So yeah, so 10, 5, and 2.
So I would think the 10-year-old would understand that a little bit more than the other two. Is that safe to say?
Yes.
So now the younger two, what do you do with that? Because it's harder for them to at that age to understand that mommy's not available right now, or mommy's doing this other thing, I have to wait. So kids at those age, they don't understand the meaning of wait and patience. So how do you teach them that?
With that one, it would be smaller blocks. So like my big blocks would be in the morning. So, every entrepreneur is like, get up early, do your checklist, do what you need to do for yourself. And that was not me about, throughout the summer. That was hard. But towards the tail end of the summer, I was like, you know what? I gotta try something. So I went ahead and I started waking up earlier and I really took that time for myself. So that's a huge block right there in my morning. So that way I can just, go through all the follow up emails, follow up texts, whatever needs to be done. 6:30 in the morning, we're up and we're grooving. And then throughout the day would be like my smaller blocks. So that way the children aren't like, okay, what is an hour again? Like what? Like mom said an hour, I don't know what that means. Um, so I don't really do like large blocks throughout the day. I do like smaller blocks. And then my other huge block is once the children are in bed, then I go back into I clock in.
So smaller. So so when you say smaller blocks, are you saying like for 1 hour, for 2 hours?
Probably like 15 minutes. Like 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there. So it's like 15 minutes, quickly by myself, and then 15 minutes with the kids. Or not 15 minutes with the kids, no. Then it's like a little bit while for the kids. So that way I can go, do something mom orientated. And then either 15 to 30 minutes back into like business mode. So then I can like post my content that I need to. So in about those 15 minutes, I usually get like one platform updated, realistically.
So you have 15 minutes of. So I'm trying to picture it in my mind. I'm assuming your kids go to like public school, right? You're not homeschooling or anything.
Right. So yeah, so the summer was a little bit more difficult. But for the school year it should be easier because I have the two that will be in public school and then I'll just have the 2-year-old home with me. So, that's a little bit easier. And then also nap times of course help. So,
So it's like you're squeezing it in where you can, it sounds like, because you're doing so you get up earlier before your kids, and then you have to attend to your kids, and then so then they go off to school, maybe not the little one, and then the the smallest one, you're putting them in for their for his nap, and that's when you work during nap time, and then when they wake up, you do what you can with them, and then and you have the your 15-minute blocks, and then the other two kids are home from school and you got to deal with them, and then when they go to sleep then you get back to work, so it's like you're trying to squeeze it in where you can.
that's exactly right. Isn't that exactly what we're doing? Yes. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it sounds crazy when you hear it said back to you and you're like, is that really my life? And then you're like, yeah. Yeah, it is. But like we also get like a lot of stuff done with the kids. I think that like a lot of people have some entrepreneurs can be like really really good go-getters, which is awesome in their business. And my husband and I we took a look at some other business families and we were like, okay, we need to establish boundaries and rules really quickly and what our expectations are of each other. And, that has really also played into how I help run the house. So that way I'm not just, "Yeah, mommy has a business and, you guys know how to make peanut butter and jelly for yourselves, right? Cool. That'll work for dinner 4 days out of the week, right?" So I never want my children to feel like that. So I think that it was also really important to establish boundaries with my husband and really get the expectation, like, okay, what are you going to be doing with the kids? Like how much are they going to be, hands on versus hands off? And then how much time are you allowing in your business? So it's a lot of moving parts.
Right, and and you have to involve your husband as well in that decision. So
Yes.
how much does your husband help you balance all this?
Well, him and I do not have a normal marriage. That sounded wrong. Occupation wise. So he is a truck driver. So then that means that I am a happily married, single, stay-at-home mom. So I don't have the help of a husband. So does that make sense?
So truck drivers, they're gone for days at a time, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Right. And so you're alone with the kids, and the little time that you have to yourself when the kids are at school, when they're napping, when they're sleeping at night, that's kind of the break time that you really have to get your business done.
Exactly.
So you squeeze it in where you can, right? So and so being alone with the kids, right? Because your husband's away for days at a time, it's sort of like you're managing it on your own. Is that
Oh,
safe
for
to say?
sure. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, all the house chores, the business, the kids, the extracurricular activities that we sign the kids up for. So, yes.
Oh, you signed
But
them
I
up
do bel
for, sorry, you signed them up
uh
for a lot of extracurricular activities as well?
oh, for sure, considering they have to be kids, I want them to, build friendships as well and also have their own community and their own people that they can, converse with and learn from. So no, I don't want it just to be like, okay, you guys are at home now, cool, babysit each other. No, that was also another thing that like Jake and I established really quickly, that we wanted the children to also have a life outside of school, outside of home, and around extracurricular activities.
And another excuse for them to get out the house.
Exactly. And mom too, of course. No.
So there you go. Get it in while you can. Get them involved in a lot of extracurriculars. Squeeze it in while you can. Oh, man. All right. So we got a comment here. I just want to show this. You are a very busy mom, according to Lenore. Do you feel that way? That you're very busy?
Very busy. Very busy. Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you, Lenore, for saying that. So yes, a
How,
very busy
tell us more about that.
mom. Dial that in a little bit. Like, what do you mean?
So you feel very busy. Do you feel overwhelmed?
At times, but then I guess it all goes back to that balance of, okay, what can you do to relieve some of that stress? Or like, how can you, dial back, recenter yourself, and refocus? Because as a business owner, we get burnt out just from, running a business and everything that we have to do inside the business. Then you have three kids on top of it and the house and the meals. Of course, you get overwhelmed and burnt out, but I love it. I love it. I strive in those areas where there's chaos. So I wouldn't know what my life would look like without all of the busy parts. Um,
You
I'm
strive
going off
in
topic.
you strive in chaos. That's an interesting phrase. What do you mean by that?
I knew you were gonna pick up on that. Uh, I strive in chaos. I see things as a mess, and then I just go ahead and it's just got to be dealt with. I don't know. The crazier it is, the more of a time crunch, it's just put together. At least I think it's put together better. I don't, yeah,
So so now I have to process that. All right. So the crazier it is, the more you have to put it together.
yeah. Which I know that I talked about balance and dialing it back. I have a really, ooh,
So let me ask
you're
you
good
this:
at that.
what do you do? You ever pamper yourself? Do you make time for yourself personally? How's your
Oh,
self
for
care?
sure. Oh, for sure. Self-care. Yes. So that would be like slowing down. Again, the children are always with, but you have to figure out activities that work for them, but also work for you. So the other day we went for a walk. I loaded up the stroller, took all the water bottles, and I had to just walk it off and just listen to some earpiece information. And whether that be like music or a podcast or whatever, I just had to listen to something, but be out of the house. And of course, the kids are always in tow. So I'm like, okay, what are we going to do? We went for a walk and we ended up down Main Street and we ended up at a girlfriend's candy shop and we were there for about 45 minutes just to visit. And it was great. So, self care. Self care as a mom is hard enough, I think, to step away from the kids and to, feel like you are not neglecting them enough. But then also when you're running a business by yourself and the house chores by yourself, how do you step away and give yourself self-care? It is strategically planned. It's not as bad as Fuller House. Did you ever watch an episode of Fuller House and Stephanie? Nope, not Stephanie. DJ was listing off the days or how her day goes after she gets home from work. It's not that strategic. Did you ever see that episode?
No, I haven't.
Oh my goodness, this woman, she like gave herself, like, she goes, nope, as soon as I get home, I sit with the kids for 20 minutes for homework. Then I go upstairs, take a shower. Then I have my breakdown. Then I read my book. Then I cry again. Then I tuck in the kids. It's not that strategic. That's too much. Anyways, sorry, I got sidetracked.
Your life's a little bit more chaotic.
So,
All right. So we have another question here from Lenore. She says, do you take God with you throughout the day to help balance yourself?
yes and no. Some days are more overwhelming than others, but I actually just got done listening to a reel that said, you God did not give us anxiety. Like, we just self-diagnose ourselves with anxiety, and then doctors, stamped it on us. But God did not give us anxiety. God gave us worry a little bit, but he says, do not worry. The point that I'm trying to make is you have to turn that into prayer. So lately I have been slowing down, and when I feel really anxious about something, like my upcoming events that are coming up, and I feel really anxious about it and not getting the numbers that I want, I have to slow down and pray on it and be like, okay, is this what you wanted me to do in the first place? So,
So do you find, because there are a lot of people that turn to religion, that turn to spirituality to help balance themselves. So how much are you, oh, Lenore likes what you just said. Nice. Um, so how in tune how do I phrase this? So how involved are you in the church with religion? Do you have time for that? Are you not as involved? How spiritual are you?
that's a loaded question. I just got baptized this last summer, so that was awesome. We definitely make time every Sunday morning to go to church. And if we are in the cities, we go to a different church down in the cities. Um, so yeah, we definitely have church scheduled in. Every Wednesday night, we go to the local church here, and the kids go and I go to church. I go to a woman's Bible study as well. So then I also add in, reading on my own and classes with the Bible studies. So it's a good time. Um, and then I also volunteer at the church. So I help out with their live streaming and then also in the nursery. So,
All right, so you sound really involved.
yeah,
So you have the time for that, you have the time for your business, and you have the time for all your kids.
I'd say so.
And somehow you're keeping it all together.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds just crazy when it's like reflected back to you. And it sounds like a lot when it's reflected back to you. But like when it's your life and it's every day to day, you're like, oh yeah, this is just what I do. So
Oh, Lenore's giving you a compliment. You're kicking butt. All right,
thank you,
awesome.
Lenore.
Well, because I find that when some people get really, really, really busy, right, they tend to kind of put God on the back burner, right? So, because they're like, oh, I'm too busy to pray. I'm too busy to talk to God. And God's kind of on the side, right? Or any kind of religion, whoever's listening. So, but it sounds like you don't have that problem.
I guess I've had God on the back burner. Of course, I think we all have. But God always has a way of sneaking up on you. I was listening to worship, or not, I was not listening to worship music. I was listening to rock music in my kitchen, and Evanescence came on. You know the band of Evanescence, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And I don't remember the name of the song, but Save Me From Myself. Yeah. Is that the name of the song? Save Me From Myself? Okay. But
I
anyway,
might
so I'm
have to hear it,
listening
but
to
go ahead.
it
Hmm.
and I'm singing along and it hits me. And I was like, "Holy cow." So if anybody's listening, go back and go listen to those lyrics and try to like see how that can like turn into a prayer. So I started the song back over to actually hear what I was hearing correctly, and then halfway through the song I dropped to my knees. And I was like, I cannot believe, God, that you found me in my rock music,
Hmm.
and here I am screaming Evanescence in my kitchen with the kids watching TV downstairs. And it was an amazing, powerful moment. And then after that, he played another song um, by Flyleaf called Beautiful Bride. And with both of those songs playing back to back in the rock selection, they should not have came up through the rock selection that I was listening to. So I really believe that even when we put God in the back burner and we're like, yeah, 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 we'll get to you, God. Yeah, we hear you. God will always interject and be like, no, you need me now in this moment as you're cooking spaghetti. You will drop to your knees and you will hear me. And that's exactly what happened.
So
So,
it was that breakthrough. You felt a breakthrough.
oh, for sure. Yeah, yeah.
So it's like those breakthroughs come in when it's like you're really, really, really far away, and then God comes in and says, let's restore. Let's bring you back. You're going away. You're going too far away from me right now.
Yeah, yeah. And usually God pulls me back in through a song. So it's pretty cool.
Awesome, awesome. So so what came to me as I was hearing you talk, um, a lot of a lot of working moms experience working mom guilt. So I'm wondering if you ever feel that.
I do to a point, but because I listen to the elders, not the elders of the church, but like, because there's a term with that. But
Mhm.
when I listen to like my older entrepreneurial group and they say, live this moment, love this moment, feel this moment, when I am around my children, I make sure that like I turn off my mental business brain. I make sure that I turn off my computer, I shut down my cell phone so that way when I am with them, like I am really with them. And when they really need me, I'm there with them and I'm not like I d- so yeah, so that way I don't have that guilt. I mean, I think that like it sneaks up on you out of nowhere and like some days are better than others, but otherwise so that way I don't have that mom guilt, I really try hard to focus when I'm with them.
Do you mind sharing a personal example?
Um, like when they get home from school, uh, if I'm on my phone when they bust through the door, I will like maybe let them know like, "Hey, just finishing a post really quick. 3 minutes here and you have me." And then they watch me, quickly finish it, and then they watch me silence my cell phone and I'll put it up. Like I'll put it up on the fridge. So that way if it vibrates or whatever, I don't answer it. So that way, they actually see me putting the laptop like down and closing the laptop and they actually see me putting it, to the other end of the table. So that way when we have like our after school snack time, I wasn't on the laptop listening and, finishing up whatever I needed to with business.
So so if you're ever on the phone and they come in, you say, "Hey, give me like a few minutes," and then you finish the call, and it's not like you don't put the phone in your pocket, right? Like a lot of us do. You put it on silent and you put it on top of the fridge and you walk away. So there's a physical distance that you're giving.
Yes. So that way my children can see the physical distance. Because also technology is just, it's always going to be around. I mean, the laptops, the gaming, I mean, everything is, it's never going to go away. So I really want my children, especially as they go older, to see that it's okay to put down the cell phone. It's okay to put down the laptop. Like your computer friends are not going to disappear. Um, finish what you need to get done, but then also make time for the person that is standing right in front of you. And I want them to see that. And Jack and I, we talk about that a lot. Like when we go out to lunches, we go out to dinner, or we just go get ice cream. I'm like, hey Jack, see how many couples. I want you to count how many couples are on their cell phones, but they're together. And he goes, it'd be easier to count how many are not on their cell phones. And I'm like, exactly. So, so those kind of things. Like I want my children to see those kind of things, and that it's best, to put down the cell phone and the screen time when you're with somebody physically.
So you don't ever get the fear of, I'm going to lose this client if I don't get back to them.
I used to, but now no. It depends. Well, I mean, like, of course, like it depends a little bit, like on what the pressing matter is. I mean, if it's something that needs to be handled and it can be handled really quickly, of course, take care of it, um, for that sake. But okay, like the other day, I sent out 50 text messages one morning. I had them all lined up the night before. Anywho, I had them all lined up the night before. And then while the kid or after the kids went out the door for school and I was having my morning cup of coffee, I sent out 50 text messages. And then, of course, the cell phone chimed all day. And I knew that that was going to happen. But instead of responding every single text message, I went ahead and I set up a time for myself to then answer those messages. So I put a reminder in my cell phone, check text messages when Jace is napping, and then check text messages during TV time. So then that way I could go back, and instead of answering each and every client individually as soon as they texted me, I did what worked best for my schedule. And I didn't have to apologize at all for, oh, sorry about the delay, because I still got back to them in a reasonable time. So, yeah.
So it wasn't like you didn't get back. It was within like 24 hours of you sending the messages. So it wasn't like you didn't get back to them in like 3 or 4 days. You did get back to them in a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah, the same day, even the same day, but yeah, just at like a very, precise time.
And you planned it out. So wait,
Mhm.
something just you put a reminder in your phone, but you were ignoring your phone. So how did you know the reminder came up?
Because it gives a different chime, and also it calms down my nerves. Because as you're hearing your cell phone, chime on top of the refrigerator, for instance, and you know the difference between a text message and like an alarm time, it calmed my anxiety knowing I will get back to my clients, but I need to be a mom right now. So it was an alarm, not just to get back to my clients, but also a reminder, like, you set time in your day, and you have nap time scheduled out in your day to get back to your clients. So then that way it calms the anxiety as well of I
Ah,
gotta get back to Brenda. I gotta get back to Alan. I gotta get back to Ryan. So,
so you have a special alarm tone just for your reminders.
yeah, because that's not complicated to many.
So now how efficient are you in getting back to your client? Because if you're, how long is nap time, for example?
Lately it's been about 3 hours.
So is 3 hours enough time to answer all of those text messages?
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. So yeah, text messages, that his nap time is my follow-up time. So that would be my phone calls, my emails, text messages, everything that takes my business brain to be focused instead of, worrying about the children choking or anything. So yeah, like that is definitely enough time to go ahead and get back to the clients.
All right. And then do you plan another set of text messages within that time?
Sometimes, like the text message, well, yeah. Um, So, okay, for instance, if I didn't get back to them that afternoon during nap time, then I will at bedtime then, but it's 8 o'clock and no entrepreneur or person wants to be reminded of a business message at 8:30 at night or 10. So I will text back the words that I want to say, and then I won't send it at 10 o'clock at night. I'll just save it as a draft. So then the next morning when I'm having coffee again, then I can just hit send, 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 send. And then they all send, around that 8 o'clock hour, which is more respectable than the 8:30 or 10 o'clock at night.
Ah, very smart. All right. So you save your messages as a you save your messages as a draft, and then the next moment when you have that next moment to yourself to do your business, then that's when you hit send.
Yeah.
So you plan your text messages ahead of time, and then when it's time to send it, I'm sure you double check again. Let me just make sure this is what I want to send, and then you hit send.
Yeah. Yep.
So basically it's a lot of planning ahead from what I'm hearing from you. It's a lot of planning ahead. It's waiting for certain times of the day to do your business. So you're doing it during that time. You're doing it while the kids are at school. You're doing it while the kids are sleeping. So there's a lot of planning. I'm getting a planning aura from you.
Yes. Yes, because I've tried to do the whimsical, um, I'll just do my business and, the kids will be fine. But my oldest son, he doesn't do well with unscheduled events, I found out. And and I've just realized this just really works well for us. When he can see it, he knows the routine, and I know the routine, and it just works out better for us. So yeah.
Wait, what do you mean by that? That he doesn't do well with scheduled
Uh,
events?
he My son is very particular, and he likes to know what we're doing. Like when I say get into the car, he wants to know why. But when I go downstairs and let's say he's watching a video game or something, and I'm like, "Hey, we gotta go," he will get really agitated because it wasn't on the schedule. He'll be like, I didn't see it. Like, where are we going? Why do I have to go? Like, why do I need to be there? Um, where are we going?" So he is very very detailed. He wants to know why
Oh, so he's
and
not
where and when.
spontaneous. Everything has to be planned out for him.
Yes.
Ah, so that goes into your planning as well.
Yes, because of course I want my child, to feel comfortable, and to feel like I heard him and I hear that you do not do well with spontaneous. I love spontaneous. I mean, you could call me up and be like, "Hey, I'm landing in 2 hours. Come and meet me." I'd be like, "Let's go." But, my son, no, he would be, "This wasn't in the plan. Why are we going? Why do we have to go?" So, no, he likes to know the plan. So then I have to be respectful of him and hear him and, plan accordingly.
Mm. Are the other well, maybe not the 2-year-old, but are the other two kids like that?
Not really, not as much. Addison, kind of. She's my 5-year-old. Kind of. She likes to know what's going on, but she's not as agitated about it. And then my 2-year-old, he doesn't have a clue what's going on. But it's so sweet.
So, I mean, has your kids ever like confronted, well, not confronted, but have they ever asked you like, mommy, why don't you talk to me often, or why are you always away? Or I mean, do they ever pull at your heartstrings sometimes? Do they ever ask you like, mommy, why are you always, you know, why are you always away? Or, why are you not talking to me, or something like that? Like, do you ever get that clash from your kids?
Um, every now and then, but like when I hear that and I of course receive it and I have to sit with it for a moment and I'll reflect. Like, have I been distant this week? Like, has this week been more busy than other weeks? And then of course, how do you respond to that? Like, like I don't ever want to respond like, yeah, yeah, mommy's busy. Like, yeah, yeah, I run a business. Like, yeah, yeah, like this is what, you signed up for. No, they didn't. They didn't sign up for this. Like, we chose to bring them into this world. So like, you know, um I'm very receptive if they ask those questions. But then I go through and I reflect on my week and then I will sit down and I'll ask. I'll be like, "Okay, what do you want from me? Like what are you missing that I need to give to you so that way you can feel this?" Because it's fair for you to say those things, but I also don't deserve to be guilt tripped or to feel like I've done something wrong either. So help me help you, So that's how I try to talk to my children. And I also go through like the highlights of the week, or even of the day, or like, yes, I had a very busy Thursday, but yesterday I took the whole day off and we went to the pool. So I'm asking you to please be respectful that, Wednesday I took the whole day for you. Could you please give me more time on Thursday then? And then, my oldest is like, "Oh, okay, I see it."
So you negotiate. So you say, you ex- you explain to them that you're trying to help other people. Do they know about your business?
Yes. Yes. They are definitely around when the calls happen. They're around through the podcasts that I listen to. Yes, they definitely know my business. My daughter and my son, at some of the tail end of my clips where I say my tagline,
Hmm.
you can hear them sometimes mimicking it, or they'll
Hmm.
be in the background and they'll get really animated and they'll do my hand gestures. So, yeah, they definitely know what mommy does. And then it's really embarrassing though when we go to a new business and I'm talking with a business and they're like, "Is that gonna be a client? Like, did you just get paid? Can we go swimming? Can we go get ice cream now? Like, how much money did you make?" And it's like, "Kids, that's so like, okay, bye, Dave. Like, we gotta go. Like, stop." And Dave is like, "I didn't even know you were a business owner until my kids, start squawking." And it's like, "Oh, you guys." But my oldest, he goes, "Mom, I'm just so proud of you too, that sometimes I forget that there's like a right way and a wrong way." And I'm like, "It's okay." So,
Aw, that's nice. That they give you that encouragement.
yeah, yeah. So they're really awesome about it. So they definitely know what mommy does.
Right. And then so they understand. Well, sometimes they understand that there's going to be moments where you that you don't attend to, that you're not going to talk to them, that you're not going to be around them, that there are moments where you're going to be away from them, and you're so it's like you're trying to help them understand that, there's going to be times where I'm here, and then there's going to be times where I'm not here.
Yeah.
So then I'm assuming that you explain that when there's times when you're not here, that you're not going to be gone very long. So when those times are done, then I will get back to you.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
So,
And I think being an entrepreneur gives you that flexibility because you're working on your own schedule, so you can move things around wherever you want, and you can always move things later. The fact that you do things at night, so I would imagine if you had a 9 to 5 job, that may not be as simple. So I think being an entrepreneur gives you that flexibility. What are your thoughts on that?
yeah, I definitely agree. So, but yeah, having a 9 to 5 job also has its place because then the kids also know the routine of, okay, after school, then we go to daycare. And then after daycare, mom picks us up and then she has to be busy in the kitchen doing dinner. So even parents that have the clock in, clock out jobs aren't always available for their kids either, and yeah, that's a whole nother topic. I just had some things like fly into my brain. Um, but so yeah, I mean, I think that it all just comes down to balance and just making sure that you're just being respectful to your kids as well.
Right, just don't that there's a time and a place for everything.
Yeah, yeah. So vacations are fun.
Vacations help too. Oh man. All right. Well, listen, we're having a lot of fun, but I'm gonna start to wind things down now. So, like I did on the last show, I'm gonna ask you again. I like to ask my guests words of wisdom. So, are there any words of wisdom, advice, anything that you'd like to share with our audience?
Words of wisdom. Okay, words that were just spoken to me over and over and over again. They're only young once, and you get to raise them to go out into society. So, that's on you. Like that's your responsibility of what you want your children to be like going into the universe. So I understand that you have a business and I understand that you're a mom or a dad, but you also have responsibilities to make sure that you raise the little ones to your best ability and make sure that you're hearing them. And then also, yeah, just enjoy all of those little moments and the extra hugs and the extra kisses.
There you go. Beautiful, beautiful. All right. Well, Amber, thank you for coming back on Hot Topics, and thank you for this lovely conversation and sharing your insight and your wisdom.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. This was fun.
And Lenore also thanks you. All right. Thank you, Lenore. Okay. All right. So let's do your promo. All right, you guys. So Amber McCarty, she is all over the place, you guys. So I encourage you to follow her on all of her social media accounts, as she is not content creator. Is that what it is? Is that what you
Nope.
do again? Remind me what you do again. What's your Let's talk about your business. Let's jump into that.
Okay, really quick. I interview businesses. So everybody has a story behind what they do and why they do it and how they got started. And it's a business. It's not always about, like the prices. It's what makes you the best in your industry. And that's what I interview and then I help share that on all my podcasts so your clientele can get to know who you are instead of just what you do and at what price.
Okay, there you go. And you help entrepreneurs identify that about themselves,
Hmm.
right?
A little bit, yeah. Yeah.
And then you also take that what you gather and you turn it into content and you spread it across social media, or you
Yep.
do it for their social media.
I do it on my social media with their social media. I steal all their links so that way it's all in one beautiful package. And so like when I do a reel, um, yeah, all their links and the websites and everything would be right there inside of the information. So that people know how to get a hold of them.
Beautiful. All right, you guys. So if you are looking for someone to help you with that, maybe figuring out this whole social media thing, maybe I know social media has been around for like 15 years or 20 years, I don't know. But if you're still like, I have no idea what all this is about, Amber is your girl. So hit her up. Her contact information is on the screen right now. But if you happen to be listening to this on a podcast, I did not forget about you. All of this information, of course, is in the description, but I will say it here. So her website is buzzitbig.com. So I encourage you to go to her website to learn more about her services. She also has a Facebook page called Meticulous Engagement and a Facebook group for entrepreneurs as well, also called Meticulous Engagements, but it's Meticulous Engagements group. So if you are an entrepreneur, make sure you join that Facebook group. She's also on Instagram. It is her name, Amber.McCarty22. So make sure you follow her on Instagram as well. She's also on LinkedIn with her name, Amber McCarty. She's on TikTok, Amber McCarty 20, I believe. Yes.
Yep.
She's also on TikTok. She's on YouTube, Meticulous Engagements. So I think I said LinkedIn already. So she is all over, you guys. So make sure you follow her on every single social media account and make sure you reach out to her. And if you are an entrepreneur and you're trying to get on social media, maybe you need help identifying who you are as an entrepreneur, maybe you need help putting that picture together about yourself, reach out to Amber. She is your girl. And I also want to take a moment to shout out her podcast called Meticulous Engagements. I encourage you to listen to her podcast as well. I was a guest on her podcast. So, I know how it goes. So her podcast is available wherever you get your podcast. So make sure you check it out on your favorite podcast platform. And don't forget to subscribe to the platform. No, subscribe to the podcast, you guys. So don't just listen to it, but actually follow as well. So it is called Meticulous Engagements. That is our podcast. So make sure you check it out and subscribe. Is there anything else you'd like to share about your business? Anything you want to promote? Anything you want the world to know?
Uh, I'm excited to have you back as a guest soon. So yes, yes.
Oh, like, wait, we talked about that? Okay, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
down. Yeah, bring me back on your show. Let's do it. All
Heck
right, you
yeah.
guys. So, Amber, thank you again for coming on Hot Topics.
Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome, awesome. All right, you guys. So that was so inspiring. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, so now let's get down to the conclusion of the episode as we have reached the ending of yet another episode of Hot Topics. So I want to take this moment to remind you that Hot Topics is a production of my tutoring company called A Step Ahead Tutoring Services. So if you or your child, maybe they're struggling in school, maybe they're falling behind, maybe there's that big test that's coming up and you want to get them ready for that, hit us up. Hit up our tutors. We do virtual tutoring. So wherever you are in the United States, reach out to us as well. If you just so happen to be in the New York City area, we also do in-person tutoring as well. So if you are looking for any kind of academic help, academic assistance, test prep, college counseling, editing and proofreading, hit us up. Our website is www.astepaheadtutoringservices.com. You could also find us on our multiple social media platforms. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. I still call it Twitter. Now it's called X, whatever it is, but you know what I'm talking about. So make sure you follow us on our multiple social media platforms as well. So if you are looking for any of those tutoring services, reach out to us. I will give you that website. Once again, it is www.astepaheadtutoringservices.com. All of this information, of course, is in the description, so make sure you check it out. And it's also scrolling below at the bottom of the page. For my video people and for my podcast people, I'm just going to say it again. It is in the description. So, however, you are taking in this episode, the information is available to you at your fingertips. So, if you are looking for a tutor, reach out to us. And I also want to encourage you guys, please drop a comment below or in the comment section. Let us know your thoughts about this episode. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Whatever it is, put a note in the comment section. Put a note in the comment section below. Or I think Spotify now, you can leave comments there. So however you are taking in this episode, make sure you drop a note. Let us know your thoughts. It helps our algorithm. It helps people find us. The more people comment, the more people find us. So help us out, you guys. Let us know your thoughts about this episode as well. And give us a rating. I would love it if you would give us 5 stars. So if you deem it worthy of 5 stars, please give us a 5-star rating as well. But definitely, please give us a rating on your podcast platform. Very much appreciate it. All right, you guys. Well, thank you again for joining me on Hot Topics. I look forward to you joining me on the next episode, you guys. Thank you again. And now I am signing off. Bye, guys.